Welcome to Ponchatoula Live. I'm your host, Parker Layrisson, and I'm so excited to be back from our summer break with our fantastic guest today. This is someone who's been in business here in Ponchatoula for decades. We will talk about the big anniversary they have coming up, but this is a leader of men and women, someone who has trained countless people in the martial art of karate, someone who's just deeply respected here in our community and a man that I'm really excited to introduce you to. So, with no further ado, Joey Giluso of Ponchatoula Karate Center, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being here. And Joey, we are now live, folks. That's an inside joke between Joey and me because I had a little technical difficulty here, 100% my fault. But now that we have our audience here live, Joey, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and just telling us about yourself?
Yeah, as you said, we've been in business for now 35 years in Ponchatoula. And we first started back with Ponchatoula Fitness Center. We were inside of the fitness center. Mr. Mike Turnion was gracious enough to let us start there. And after a couple years, we were able to purchase our own property and building, and we've been there ever since.
And now, finally, after all these years, we're neighbors. So my law office is just a few blocks
Right.
away from you, and
That's
I've
right.
been there, two more than 2 decades less than you, but I'm loving it there on Fifth Street. It's a wonderful place to be, and I appreciate you giving Mr. Mike his props because that's a great family that's done so much for our community. They've just like you, a mainstay of local business, and it's been neat to have that resource here. So
Yep.
now let's just kind of kick it off. Tell us, where do you come from? What was, how did this all begin? How'd you get into karate? Kind of what's your superhero origin story, if you would?
I don't know about superhero, but born and raised in Hammond,
Okay.
and my father wanted to join karate. I think I was about 13 or 14 years old, and we decided to look around, and we found, just like you're talking about for your kids, we found a great instructor right there in Hammond. His name is Sensei Takayuki Mikami. He was there for 25 years, I think, before he
Mhm.
stopped traveling to Hammond. He lives in Metairie, and he is now 92 years old. And
Wow.
yep, yep. And I started with him very young, and just have been doing it ever since. It's even if I had a job or where it a very stressful job, I still was able to make it to karate each
Mhm.
evening, and I found it to be like a stress reliever
Uh-huh.
after a hard day's work. And so maybe I think 10 years had passed after I started training, and he wanted us to start spreading karate, and he asked if anybody wanted to open a school. And I always loved Ponchatoula, so that's why I chose Ponchatoula. And
Well, what
it's
a blessing to have him travel to your hometown because, as I understand it, he's one of the foremost karate instructors, not just in our area, but the world. Is that right?
He is in our martial art of Shotokan. It's called. It's a
Mhm.
traditional Japanese art. He is the highest in our organization, in the organization, the world organization, which is ninth degree black belt. So it takes your whole life to get to that level, and
Mhm.
he's just an amazing teacher. He's taught me a lot about life, and just how to treat people, and
Right.
how to set goals, and all of these things I am now teaching to my students.
Yeah.
And whether it be a 4-year-old child, or my oldest student is 84,
Well, that's
and
cool. Wow, an
it's
80-year swing between youngest and oldest. That's neat. Where
yes.
else in the world for anything can you have that kind of range? That's special.
Yeah, and we're very proud of her. She just went and competed at the World Tournament in Japan,
Wow.
and and they have a 75 and up division. So she competed in that division. She was one of the oldest ones in that division, and she
Yeah,
still, I think she placed in the top 10. And
that's
so
that's
she did really
impressive
well.
in the world.
Yeah,
That's it. Folks, sometimes don't know that we have these remarkable senior citizens in our area.
right.
One who comes to mind is, I don't know if you've heard of Hurricane Hawkins, who's from here. Most folks in Ponchatoula know a Sparky Wells with Jackson Vaughn Insurance and the longtime
Yeah,
treasurer of the Rotary Club. Well, this is
yeah,
his cousin, and we got to root her on a few years ago when she set the world record in the 100-meter dash for 105-year-olds, and she did it right there at Southeastern. And so I brought my
wow.
little boys, and we had a cheering section for her. It was so much fun. But it's really neat to see folks like your student or Hurricane Hawkins on the track,
Yes.
keeping with it, sticking at it. And, because she comes from my family, Sparky's mom, who the late mother, we called Chi, she went skydiving at 94 years old. And I was just so impressed by that. But
Yeah,
that's cool. So it sounds like this started with you. You had your dad as a mentor to have the interest in doing this for you, to find
yes.
someone special to teach you. Would you mind kind of talking about childhood influences and kind of, what you were into and kind of what you learned back then, and maybe compare things you learned from dad at the home to things you learned from your sensei, in the dojo? What comes to mind when you think about the foremost lessons you learned when you were young that help you now as you're teaching?
You know, kind of both of them, my dad and my sensei, um, they taught the same thing, having a strong mind.
Mhm.
And that, especially, in life, it's very difficult. So you need to be strong minded. And so I think that helped me the most in my life so far. And, and I was getting that from both of them. So I think that was, and I try to teach my students the same thing. Um, a lot of times if you take a test in karate and you don't pass, which I didn't pass a lot of times, um, it makes you're either going to quit or you're going to come back stronger and
Right.
pass. So that's a lot of what my father wouldn't let me quit. He was like, you know what, train harder and take the test again and
Yeah.
pass it. And so that's the kind of stuff that karate helps, and he helped me with being not just strong-minded but strong-willed.
Right.
I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I had a telecom company for 25 years, and I recently sold that company. And I, being able to run that company all day and then teach karate all night, or not all night, but a couple times a
But
week.
yeah,
Yeah, it
long
was
hours.
pretty. It was pretty rough, and so I'm kind of semi-retired. I'm just teaching
Uh-huh.
karate, and I travel a lot. But as a child, I say a child, a teenager,
Mhm.
those years I was traveling around, competing a lot in different tournaments, and that helps build your mental strength too, because you're going against different people, and you have to really train your body to be able to, your body and your mind, and
Absolutely.
karate helps with all of that. So yeah, that's
Helps you
kind of
find that balance. I so admire your work ethic when you look at having one job as being semi-retired. Because
yeah,
you've been working two jobs most of your life, and
correct.
that's an admirable quality. But I love how your father instilled in you this value that your sensei carried on, and that you're now passing on, because it's so important. And you mentioned,
Yes,
failure, and I think so few people, especially these days when we live in the participation trophy era. I've coached youth sports for 20 years, baseball and basketball, and everybody gets a trophy. And kids need to learn how to lose. Kids need to learn how to fail. Kids need to learn how to
right.
come back, as you mentioned, so they can do it next time. I remember well my older boy Luke's godfather, Brandon Perrin, who eventually became a black belt when we were kids, taking the test. So we had the video. He showed us the video at his house back on the old VHS deck. But there was some move, some kick, And he fell. He failed in that instant. He's probably mad at me if he's watching this for sharing it, but I hope he continues to watch because he came back, he improved, he learned, he did better. Eventually,
Yeah.
he passed and he earned his black belt. And he is a better man, a better godfather to my son, probably a better employee to Lockheed Martin where he works
Yeah.
because of that. And I've seen that on the court when I'm coaching basketball, in the courtroom when I'm practicing law. No lawyer wins every trial. No doctor succeeds in every surgery. We all are going to get kicked in the teeth, whether we're running a telecom company or a dojo or anything else. So thank you for sharing that with us. Who were
Yeah.
some other influences in your youth beyond your father and your karate instructor? Who comes to mind as people who help you become the man you are today?
Yeah, my mother. She
Amen to
was,
that.
yeah, she was one of the same thing, the strong mind, and she was self-employed her whole life, so she was always
Is that where
able
you
to.
got that entrepreneurial
I
spirit?
think so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I knew right out of high school that I didn't really want to go to college, so while I was in high school, I was planning for what I was going
Mhm.
to do as an entrepreneur, and
That's cool.
it, yeah, yeah, and not that college is a bad thing because I actually have four kids, and all two of them have already graduated from Southeastern, and two of them are currently in Southeastern.
Oh
So
wow! So you are aligned through and through. Those guys need to send you a gold watch after y'all are done with all that tuition. That's
yes. In fact, yesterday I just went through that again, and it's not fun. It's not fun.
Well,
Paying
my
for it.
little boys have gone to a speech therapy at Southeastern, and in the summer, speech
Yep.
therapy camp, which is their favorite thing on earth. So they have long wanted to go to the. They talk about they can't wait to get to Southeastern, and it's pretty neat. When we travel on vacation, we'll often go look at the great universities or wherever we are, whether it's Stanford in California or Oxford in England, and it doesn't matter what fancy famous school we pass. My boys will tell you that we're Southeastern Lions. When we come, we're going to come home to Hammond and go to college. And of course, that's music to our ears because we want to keep them close. But that's neat to hear that. So we talk about your mom, we talk about your dad, we talk about kind of and earlier you wanted to be an entrepreneur. Let's talk about the transition from somebody who's and presumably it was challenging to just get business number one going and succeeding, and for it to last as long as it did, it must have succeeded handily. What's the challenge like when you decide to take on a totally second business? Because you mentioned earlier you're working all day. What's that like for people that might be thinking of stepping out and doing a second act like that on top of the first?
Well, I think you have to have some support, and my wife supported me in anything that I did. And whenever if you have someone that's telling you you can't do it or you shouldn't do it, well, then it makes it hard. But when you
Yeah,
got somebody that's behind you, it makes it so much easier. And
especially with four kids. I mean,
yes,
I
yeah,
watched my mama raise us. I'm the second of four boys, and we were wild. And while dad was off busy being sheriff, that was a challenge. I mean, back then there was no pard. So come football, baseball, basketball season, we were often in three or four parks at the same time.
that's
And
right.
it sounds like
And
your wife was doing a lot of similar
she
juggling.
was she was juggling a lot. We had all four of them went through St. Joseph, and
Oh, cool. That's where my boys are now. Neat.
yep, yep. They played sports, and so she was constantly running, and then we would try to get them to karate too, but that was the homework came first, and
Yeah.
so yeah, they it helps, like I said, to have somebody like that behind you, and
Well,
we've
while
been.
we're on the topic of this amazing woman that you're talking about, give us a little background, if you will. Y'all must have been married pretty early, I guess, if she's involved in kind of
Yeah,
how did y'all come to be, if you don't mind me asking?
yeah, through my sister, actually. It was one of those things. My sister brought her best friend home, and
Yeah.
yep, and I took advantage of it. So
You
Um,
saw a good thing, an opportunity. You seized the opportunity and stuck with it, and then and here we are. That's a beautiful
yes,
love story.
we
If
were
you
twenty twenty
don't go
one
ahead,
years old.
wow, that's yeah,
Yep.
that's. I mean, that's kids, you know. Well,
Yep.
if you don't mind, I'm going to share a few quotes here with you because, folks, if you're listening or watching us live on Facebook, we have the ability to read your quote here live on the air. So if you want to, ask Joey a question, you can do that. If you want to just say hey or say something nice. So Mike Magliola here through Lisa Marie's Facebook account has commented that Joey's not only a great, knowledgeable, and patient instructor, he's a truly great person. And he mentions that he would never train under anyone else.
Oh,
Mike, thank you for sharing that. Sensei, how does that make you feel to hear that from one of your students?
you know what? That that makes it all worthwhile. You train people, and he truly gets what I'm trying to put out there, and it makes me feel so good inside that somebody is understanding what I'm trying to teach.
Yeah. Well, before we went live, you and I were discussing how my wife and my family's so excited about you and Ponchatoula Karate Center because our son expressed an interest in karate. Not coincidentally, after about three family movie nights in a row of watching Karate Kid movies, and you
Yeah.
know, and so anyway, my wife is a brilliant former valedictorian and straight A student and all that, unlike me. But she does exhaustive homework on anything. I mean, if she's purchasing a bottle of water, she's going to want to find out what's got the best pH balance or whatever. And
Right.
so she wasn't going to just trust her firstborn son to anybody. So we were so delighted that, like you, when your father discovered your sensei, we didn't have to bring our son to New Orleans or Baton Rouge or even the North Shore. Right here, 2 blocks from Dad's office, is a world class sensei with a first class operation. And part of learning that was not just checking out reviews online and kind of scuttlebutt, but learning from people that we trusted deeply who had been through your program. And one here, a dear friend of mine, Timothy Thibodeau, who runs our Sunday school class, is a former student of yours. And he
Oh,
writes, Sensei Joey was the first person that he'd met to work with computers and technology and really open his eyes to the possibilities. So, Timothy, thank you for commenting on the show, for telling my family about the character of Sensei Joey, and sharing that, and we really appreciate that. Um, Ryan Griffin also says hi to you there, Joey.
hello.
Ryan, good to hear from you, man. I hope you're doing well. So if anybody else wants to comment here, we have Sensei Joey Giluso, Ponchatoula Karate Center. He can field your questions. He can read your comments, and we're here with you. But we'll turn back to the interview. So you learn from a great sensei. You have great values at home. Awesome dad, awesome mom. You meet your dream girl when you're 21. Thank you. I hope you buy your sister a good Christmas present every year for sharing that lesson with you.
After she watches this, she's going to expect something.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna cost you some money here. But let's talk now about the focus of just so how does that build up? And you mentioned starting at Ponchatoula Fitness. Eventually, you buy your own. You're an entrepreneur, so you buy your own property. You're there on
Yeah.
Fifth Street. But tell us about what goes into that. How do we know whether karate is a good fit, and what makes your place the right fit, and what do y'all focus
Yeah.
on?
So in the 35 years we've been in Ponchatoula, there's been countless karate studios. Let's just say martial arts studios, because there was
Yeah,
different.
come and go. Absolutely.
Come
Yeah.
and go, come and go, come and go. And people ask this question all the time: how have you been here for 35 years? And a lot of the places, they try to sign you up on like a contract. And for example, if you brought your son and I say, all right, you have to sign up for a year. And so you put up the money for a year, and then in 3 months, he decides he don't want to do it anymore. Well, now you're telling, or most parents would say, you must go to karate because I've already paid the whole year.
Right.
right? So what happens is now I have to teach somebody who don't want
Doesn't
to
want to
be
be
there,
there.
don't want
Right.
to be there. So that ends up corrupting, not, or it makes the rest of the class see that,
Oh
and
yeah.
then yeah. So
It
uh,
poisons the well for everybody, for sure. Yeah.
yep. So I've been fortunate to not look at it as um, like a money making business. It's more of a hobby, so I don't have to sell a bunch of different patches and all kinds of equipment. Um, I can just teach the way that my teacher taught me, and it makes you feel a lot better inside when you can do that. And again, if somebody's not happy, they're not under a contract, so they can just
Yeah.
leave. And that's
Yeah.
been the formula for success, I believe.
That's a great point of view. And I tell you, as a consumer, whenever I encounter these contracts that want to lock you in, whether it's a cell phone or a service provider, or like you say, a karate studio, for me, I lose trust every time because in the law, our clients can fire us any day of the week, and in fact, the law even goes so far as to say with lawyers, I don't care what the contract says, you can drop them any minute. It's
Right.
moment to moment, and what that does is force you to produce day after day a quality product. So if
That's
these
right.
places are focused more on their marketing and glitzy, get you in the door, but then trap you under contract, that's good for nobody. And like you made a great point that if the student doesn't want to be there, man, that's just gonna ruin everything. If you don't mind, I'm going to share a few other quotes here with you. You mentioned
Yeah.
how it makes you feel good to be coming from that perspective. I bet this is going to make you feel good. London says, "Best dad and mom ever. Love
Oh,
y'all."
thank you, baby. Love you too.
So you got some big fans here tuning in.
Okay.
Isabel Green. Hey, Isabel. I think I know your family. I went to school
Yep.
with your Aunt Holly and Uncle
Yep.
Matt.
Yep.
Greens are great people that I
Yep.
deeply admire. She says, "Love you, Mr. Joey." I
Yep.
didn't know I had, young, beautiful women like you watching our show, Isabel. That's only because of Sensei Joey, but thank you. And please tell your aunt and uncle hello for me, and your mom too. I love Emily. She's a wonderful woman. And
Yep.
Timothy Thibodeau has circled back here to add on his comment that you're a truly great man. And this is a heads up, I guess. He says he'll be putting his little girls in Little Dragons soon, his two beautiful, talented little girls. And you're truly a great teacher to have to put up with him for 18 years. I
Timmy was a great student, and he keeps
bet.
telling me he's coming back. So I'm putting you on the spot, Timmy. Timmy,
Well,
we're
he's in
we're
the shape
we're
for it. He's training for a half marathon right now. He runs around my neighborhood, all the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
That's
So we're waiting for you to come back.
the challenge has been issued there, Tim. But bring Mr. Vince with you once he heals up.
Okay,
Get the whole family in there.
that's
Um,
right.
so, folks, that's one of the things I love about Ponchatoula here is you can see kind of these multi-generational connections, and good people like Joey and his family attract other good people, and it just kind of creates this wonderful thing here. You mentioned earlier, Joey, you kind of always loved Ponchatoula. You grew up nearby in Hammond.
Yeah,
Guy like you with your talents, you could do this anywhere in the world. You could have long ago said, okay, it's nice to get my little humble beginnings in Ponchatoula
yeah,
fitness, but I'm now going to go to Baton Rouge or New Orleans or, Texas,
yeah.
whatever. What keeps you here where you are in our community?
The people in Ponchatoula just have been amazing. Um, I mean, I feel like I'm part of Ponchatoula now. I don't know if everybody accepts me, but
Oh,
I,
absolutely. You've been
I
here, you've been on Fifth Street longer than I have, that's for sure.
yep. And our kids went through St. Joseph, like I said earlier, so we got to know a whole bunch of people, and so yep, we love it. And
That's cool.
I told my wife if we live actually in Pumpkin Center, which is a little closer to
Yeah,
Ponchatoula, but it,
that's a weird place in that. And tell me if I'm wrong here, but I know my friends growing up there would often have a Hammond address. They would be at Ponchatoula High with me, and back then, before cell phones, the home phone number would be a Springfield phone number. So
Yeah,
yeah, pumpkin
we
center
have
is about it's Ponchatoula-ish,
yeah,
like Vitaco.
yeah, we have a Ponchatoula, I mean, a Hammond address and my kids went to Ponchatoula High School.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, yep, yeah. So
And I often tell people, a lot of times friends will come here and they'll when they decide they want to run for an office, they sometimes will come by my office and ask for advice on Ponchatoula, and they'll say, "Oh, we only have 7,000 people," and I say, that's a little misleading. Yeah, yes, it's true. The city limit census is very small, but I go by the Friday night test, and it's like, who are they rooting for on Friday night? And
that's
you
right.
might root for the Hammond Tornadoes because you were one, but your kids are going to bleed green. And it's kind of like the people north of the interstate, are certainly Hammond. In
Yeah,
some places south of the interstate are technically Hammond, but like Jefferson Court comes to mind. Those
yeah,
folks are kind of Ponchatoula High folks, and
that's
it's a
great.
little tricky. I want to ask you a few questions, Joey, based on the success you've had in business, in martial arts, as a father, as a husband, etc. I would imagine a guy like you has learned innumerable lessons over the years, but some come to me. You shared earlier the one about your father teaching you the strength of mind and your sensei reinforcing that.
Yeah,
But if a young person were to come to you, okay, it might be a student like Timothy, it might be, someone else who you didn't, a teacher, coach directly, but you could have the opportunity to mentor. If they're asking you for kind of the secret sauce and keys or foundations of success, what comes to mind as to what you might want to share with a young person who kind of wants to be like you when they grow up?
immediately the first thing that comes to mind is repetition and being consistent. Um, so training the fundamentals over and over and over and over, and that's what my sensei taught me, and we teach that there in my dojo. So lots of repetition, um, and if you think about it, when you work, when you go to work, it's repetition every day, right? Not 100%
Yeah.
repetition, but it's repetition. So
No matter what you do, I'm so glad you mentioned that. I teach trial advocacy at LSU. We begin back
yeah,
next week. In this big stack of papers, I'm going to be teaching. When students show up, they want the glitz and glamour they saw on TV. That I did not order the code red moment, and it's like
yeah,
you've got to do the repetition of asking this little seemingly simple question 1,000 times so that you can have your moment later. Is everything got need a foundation like that? Karate certainly
yeah.
seems to.
So yeah, I mean it is karate
Mhm.
repetition over and over again, and what it does is when you do that repetition over and over in karate like this, it when you when you grow up or if you're already an adult, it teaches you how to deal with repetition, and it makes your it makes life easier. It's if you get if you get bored with repetition, usually you don't stay at a job very long.
Right.
You just want to move from one job to another, and with karate teaches us how to handle that. People ask all the time. Like there was one time when I think I was fourth degree black belt at the time, and I waited 13 years to take my fifth degree test. And people say, why? Why did you do that? And it's just it's not about the belt, it's about the training. I can put a white belt on right now and I'm still the same person. So it doesn't matter about the belt. So that's what I kind of explained to them, 13 years. And then in martial arts you learn 13 years is not a long time. It you
Yeah.
everything is it takes a long time to do things in martial arts,
Well, if you don't
especially.
mind, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Please continue.
No, it's okay. When I first made black belt, um, someone told my teacher. They said they told him that oh, Sensei Joey made black belt, and he said, oh, he's only a beginner. And I was young at the time, so I was like, wait a minute, I thought that was it. I'm a black belt.
You're at the end, the
Yeah,
top of the mountain.
that's right. And then finally, after many years, I figured it out. Like I figured out a bunch of things he told me as I got older, that he was right.
Yeah.
Black belt is just the beginning. You haven't even touched. You haven't done anything. It's just I mean, you've done something. You've made that black belt, which means you've probably spent 3 to 4 years getting it, and but it's just the beginning.
So would you mind giving us, and I know you're such an expert, you may take things for granted. I'm a soon to be karate dad, but have no experience in it. Would you give us a little overview of how the belt thing works? Because some people know you start at white, and like you say, black belt is not the end. Your sensei is a ninth degree black belt. But if you wouldn't mind, just give us a short overview of how the belt system works and what
Yeah,
really what it means to move from one belt to another.
yeah. So we are directly connected to Japan. So our dojo name is Ponchatoula Karate Center, but we are also Japan Karate Association of Ponchatoula. So in Japan, we are connected to them in ways that we get our black belt certificates from them. And every one of my students that has passed the black belt has their number in Japan. They are part of this worldwide organization. So we're not like a fly by night, karate school. We are directly connected, which makes it really good because Japan produces some of the best instructors, and we have the ability to get those instructors here to the United States to teach us what they're learning. So, and then we try to teach that to our own students.
And is that through the JKAAF organization that's so widely respected around the world, or is that
So the
a
it, the
separate
Ju-
entity?
yeah, the Japan Karate Association is the headquarters of,
Okay,
we call it our Humbu dojo, which means it's the main karate school. And
gotcha.
then my teacher created Japan Karate Association American Federation. That's probably what you're talking about. And
Oh, okay, yeah.
yep. And we assist him in keeping that organization running. We have, I think it's close to 50 schools now that are in our organization. So
So it's an American federation that's based on the JKA teachings
correct,
out of
correct.
Japan. Okay,
That's exactly right. And
very
we
cool.
have, yep, and it's a board, and we have we do elections, and it's everybody pitches in to help make that organization run very well, and it does. It runs really
Well,
good.
that's neat that y'all are, sticking with your sensei as he advances in age, and I'm sure there are things y'all can help him with that wouldn't come as easily to him as they did when he was 52 or even 72. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I've got another quote here I want to share with you from Charles Hutchison. Uh,
Okay.
Charles says he's learned so much from your great sensei, instructor, and friend. Um,
He is.
what do you think when you think back on students that think so highly of you? Because we've seen a consistent theme. Every student of yours that's commented here today just reveres you. And I would imagine that karate is a lot like other intense performance sports in that these are people that you have put through pain, so to speak. Meaning, you've required rigorous discipline,
Right.
exercise, etc. I think about my realm as an injury attorney. Physical therapists are by far the most beloved healthcare providers that treat my clients, but they make them cry all the time because you have to do this really tough stuff, and overcome and strengthen. So, I guess when you see these guys coming in, Timothy and Charles and everybody else that's commented, what do you take away from that?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. We have an amazing group of adults over 50 years old,
Mhm.
and one of our things is we like to sit around and talk about all our injuries. So yeah,
Y'all know physical therapists.
right.
Right,
And
right. That's
teacher
right.
used to say that he had so many injuries that he's like a doctor himself, because he would tell us what to do to try to heal ourselves.
Yeah,
And
that's
so,
funny.
so we're trying to. Charles is one of them. We always talk about different injuries, and Mike and a bunch of other great people that we have there. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't know. A lot of times people think karate is just for kids, but we half of our school is probably over 40 at least. And
Wow,
yeah, yep.
that's
And
impressive.
in our martial art, you don't have to be super flexible or anything,
Hmm.
because that's the first thing people normally say is, "Oh, I'm not flexible, so I'm not doing it." Well,
Right.
it's you get to that point by doing it. You start by doing it, and then a lot of people say, "Well, I got to get in shape before I come
Yeah.
and do it." And really, we don't. You don't have to be in any shape. You come and you can
Come
do it.
as you are and work your
Come
way
as you
in.
are.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So
That's
we, like I said earlier, we got our Little Dragons program is
mhm.
for ages 4 to 7, and that that has helped tremendously. There's not a lot of things 4-year-olds can do, like a lot of different sports. So
Right.
karate's really good to start them in, and it builds a base.
Mhm.
So if they decide to play baseball or football or whatever a little later on, it helps them with their balance and how to focus on something. So that's kind of a reason that hopefully they stay in karate, but a lot of times they move on to different sports,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Well, so let's talk about how can people get involved, because I'm sitting here, my boy Luke will be starting soon, but I have
Yep.
no idea how it worked because Brandy handled all that. So I'm sure we have people watching that would love to connect with you, and either
Yeah.
whether they're 40 or older, do it themselves, or maybe like me, get their kids involved. How can people hook up with you?
It's very simple. We have one form you fill out, and you you can buy your uniform there. I have it all. I have those in stock, and that's it. You start. You can start at any time. There's no specific start date, and we have lots of help there. So what that means is that since we've been open for so many years, we have many black belts that
Mhm.
when a new person starts, they may be joining a class that's been going on for a while, but my black belts are there to help uh, facilitate and stand there with them and kind of help them get going. So
Oh, neat.
that process has worked. I've tried in the past saying, okay, March 20th, we're going to start this class, and then no one else can start for 3 months, and we're going to start a new class. And then by that time, if somebody came in and they won't they won't wait 3 months, because when somebody wants to start, they want to start. So that's
Sure.
why we've had to do it this way, to where we start every week. We get new people. So
Okay.
it's like I said, we have these other students that's been with me for, some people's been with me more than 20 years, and they really help out when someone new comes in.
Mhm. I've shared here on our screen
Yeah.
your website, and we'll
Hmm.
do our best to put a link to the website in the comments. I see here you can also be reached on a Facebook page,
Yep.
so folks can check you out there. You have plenty of followers there, and like you say, you make it easy. It's just one form people have to fill
No,
out. So
no
that
con.
that's not rocket science. There's no excuse not to do it. It
Right.
sounds easy peasy. I want to thank you for your time. I see here I'm running almost 10 minutes over, and I promise I'll be respectful of your time. And with 4 kids and a loving wife to get back to, I'll do my best to make good on that now. But before we go, Sensei, is there
Yes.
anything else on your mind, on your heart, something we've missed, just anything at all you want to share with our listeners and our viewers before we go?
Well, a lot of people, they want to do karate. I've heard that so many times over the past 40 years of me doing it. a lot of people say, I always wanted to do karate. Well, we offer a free class. Anybody can come and just try it. Come in shorts and a t-shirt, just try it out and see if see if you want to do it. Um, I'm not a big salesman or anything, but I think that once you come and see what we have to offer,
Right.
usually 9 out of 10 times people will sign up.
Well,
And
it seems like you're not doing it for the money. You're doing it for the love,
yeah,
clearly. And the product sells itself because you have not just students that are still there that have been there with you 20 years and are helping you now teach new people, but people like Timothy that maybe are long gone and into their professional lives, and maybe they'll come back, like he said, or maybe he'll just send his girls, but they're sharing the love for you out there to say, this is the place to do it. I learned so much. I'm a better man, woman, etc. because of it. And
right.
I commend you for making this impact in our community because I've talked to so many people you've touched. And I thank you for sharing your time and wisdom with us today. And I welcome anyone who's listening that's thinking about this to take you up on your offer of a free class, to fill out that easy form, to get involved because you're not going to lock anybody down in a contract or commitment because it
Right.
sounds like you're really offering something special. So thank you for your time. And to our viewers, thank you for sticking with us to the end. We went about 11 minutes over because the interview was just that much fun. I didn't look at the clock the whole time. So, Sensei Giluso, thank you. To our viewers, thank you. And we'll see you all next week. Y'all
Thank
take
you
care.
very much. Bye bye.